So this morning on work huddle, one of my coworkers was saying that her daughter didn't feel well and didn't want to go to school. And she was like, nope, unless you have a fever or you're vomiting, you go to school. And another coworker chimed in and said, my kid is also 14 and the same thing happens. And last year we were in a new school district, so I caved. But this year, nope, it's back to unless you have a fever, you're going to school. And a third coworker chimed in and said, and the fever has to be 98 degrees to count as a fever. And then a fourth coworker said, I just cave. And the other moms were like, you're going to regret it. Later, I texted the mom who caves and I said, you know what? We need to teach our kids not to gaslight their feelings, including their physical sensations. Half of America, especially aging America, is sick because they were taught to power through. And I brought up a specific patient that we see who was gaslit by all her doctors, and this led to incredible issues, including like blood clots that could have been very dangerous, all because she was, well, in my estimation, raised with the work ethic, quote unquote, Protestant work ethic of like, unless you're having a fever, you go to school because we are a society that works hard. But isn't that just like putting us in service to capitalism and this constant go, go, go when we need to just stop and like be in touch with our bodies and how we feel? And what if we taught our kids to listen to their bodies and think about how they feel and make decisions together about like, well, do you think you could try for first period or second period? Or do you think you could try until lunch? Or do you think we could show up late and see if you feel better? Like to triage and like not make it all or nothing, like you're either in school or you're not, but to say, how do we determine like this is a slight problem versus this is a slightly serious problem versus this is a real problem, there's versus this is a really serious problem, you know? How do we teach our kids that their feelings are valid, and feelings include emotions manifesting in bodily sensations, because it's all connected? And how do we teach them to value quality of life starting from when they're young, and to say, yes, fitting into society is important. Showing up to school is important because when we grow up, if we choose to do a 9 to 5, we got to show up. And some jobs, rain or shine, we got to show up, right? But different stripes, different colors. Some kids are meant to be super in tune and to adjust with the flow of bodies, and to be more like the indigenous people who went with the moon and the barometer pressure and the dew point and the humidity, and we're like animals. Like there's some days there are no squirrels at all. And do we call them lazy? No, we say, oh, nature knows. If not one single squirrel is out, it's not a conspiracy where they all went on strike. Something in the weather patterns or something that the crows announced in the evening told them today we need to stay home, right? And part of knowing when to tough it out and when to give ourselves more care is how we survived as species, right? And so this like industrial revolution model of capitalism of like rain or shine, we show up and at school is always this time and work is always 9 to 5. What if some people are productive at midnight? You know, what if some people are meant to be creatives? Or what if some people are meant to percolate for 5 days and then write 200 pages the next 2 days? I feel like, yeah, I feel like we have to teach our children not to gaslight themselves, and we need to not gaslight them. And we need to acknowledge their feelings and say it's okay to express them. And yes, there are times that we teach our kids how to power through, just like we power through. But let's learn from the animals. We are not robots, we are animals. We are mammals, we have nervous systems, and we gotta learn to listen to them, because I believe the key to aging well is knowing how to adjust, because there are also patients who are trying to treat their bodies as if their bodies are 50 years old when they're 90 years old, and they're so frustrated and so confused all the time, and that does not help with quality of life or acceptance, right, of what is. So Lord, grant me the serenity to accept what I cannot change. but also the power to change what I can and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm butchering the prayer, but yeah, that feels like a more wholesome way to do things. So that is my reflection. Squirrel is going to take a full half hour to eat this based on what I've observed in the past. And this is dinner time. It's 102 degrees. I'm sure they're getting their liquid from fruit. And that's a work call coming in. So bye.